My name is Kirsten, and I spend my days processing grief and healing while staying kind, cozy, and courageous. And today we're going to talk all things postpartum. Out of all the questions you sent in on my Instagram, I've picked three to answer, and I'm going to be answering them during my self care sessions this week. Okay, let's get into it.
Hair care has been something that I've tried to prioritize throughout my postpartum journey because it's always been a really grounding spiritual practice my entire life, and I felt like continuing that after pregnancy would be a really helpful way to, I guess, return to myself. Caring for my hair really is a love language. Like right now, what you're seeing is braids that have been in for 24 hours, and before braiding my hair, I combed my hair with some water and some leave-in conditioner, and every step of that process was me intentionally loving on my hair. So after I take these braids out, I usually see what they've done to my hair and accordingly decide kind of what style I want to wear that day. Important thing to note is I don't have my baby today. My partner has my baby. And so those are the days where I really get to do my hair. In addition to not having the time, I just can't wear my hair out because my baby just wants to get her hands all up in there. So the question I wanted to answer today is, how do you prepare for postpartum as a single person? I love this question so much because I think it's more common to prepare for postpartum like once you're already pregnant. But in my opinion, like postpartum requires so much thought and intention, and I think it would be incredible to think about those things even before getting pregnant. And also, perhaps that could inform your decision about whether you want to get pregnant. I mentioned this in the video I made about finding out that I was pregnant and deciding what I wanted to do. But I feel like I did not have enough of a warning about like how awful pregnancy could be, and I often think like if I knew, like maybe I wouldn't have gotten pregnant. So I think just knowing more about the situation you're possibly going to get into helps you make an informed decision. Okay, so how do you prepare? In my opinion, I think the best way to prepare is to have a really good support system. So if you're deciding to have a baby with a partner, having a partner who really gets you, really understands your needs, is able to meet your needs, is able to support you when you don't have capacity to be your best self. And if you're choosing not to have a baby with a partner, having a good family and friend system. I don't know why the world is consistently trying to convince us that babies just need like a mom and a dad. Like, it is simply not true. That is not sustainable. You need a group of people to help raise your baby for your baby's sake, but also for yours. That helps the development of the baby, but also keeps you sane. When it comes to specific ways that you can prepare outside of having a really good support system, I'd break it down into physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual. The physical toll of birth, I don't even know how you could prepare for that, if I'm going to be honest. It is just so unpredictable and it impacts different bodies in different ways. And I think it's important to just accept that. Just accept that birth breaks your body and it now needs to rebuild, and you just need to offer yourself gentleness and kindness and tenderness and softness as your body rebuilds itself. Okay, so I've taken the braids off and now I'm just sort of going to massage my scalp a little bit because it's feeling pretty tight. Like, some physical symptoms that a lot of birth parents experience is like drastic weight loss, a huge change in your belly within a couple of days, fluctuating temperature changes. And if you are breastfeeding and have milk in, your breasts are just going to be going through so much, and that can be really painful. It can be really overstimulating. It can be just really inconvenient, like not knowing how to manage the leaking. Like, I want to say for the first month, like I would go through maybe 4 or 5 outfits in a day because my clothes would just be soaked with milk. Depending on your body type, you could be experiencing dryness or oiliness, and so you might have to moisturize or exfoliate your skin. And so just sort of taking it one day at a time, like paying attention to how your body's feeling and responding accordingly. And I think this is why the support system is so important. You know, like you literally have to take care of a newborn. A lot of people might think, like, where do you have the time to even pay attention to yourself? But if you have people taking care of the newborn just for an hour so you get some me time, or if you have people taking care of you while you take care of the newborn. Like, my partner would give me so many foot rubs while I breastfed. Like, yes, the experience of postpartum can be very isolating because, like, you're the only one experiencing it. But that doesn't mean the people around you can't support you. My partner would just come and embrace me if that's what I needed, or just give me my space but stay close by in case I needed him to step in at any point. And if I'm being honest, I didn't want to talk about what I was going through because I didn't have the words and I didn't have the brain space to come up with the words. So venting is not always what you need during postpartum. Sometimes you need to be emotionally supported in other ways, like food is so tied to our emotions. When we are fed, we are able to regulate our emotions or move through them in more grounded ways. And so having people drop food off so that I didn't have to cook, or me myself during my 3rd trimester prepping food and freezing it so that I could just defrost it whenever I needed. And then mentally, so this is something I've been thinking about recently. Like, I think that often when we talk about mom brain, we are referring to moms not being able to remember the things they used to be able to remember, or moms not having the cognitive functions that they used to pre-pregnancy. And I feel like we need to be reframing this. Like, mom brain is actually being able to calculate all your baby's needs, like just the basics: eating, sleeping, pooping. But then also, oh, my baby has a sudden rash. Now what treatment do I need to remember to give them every single day? Oh, my baby's not sleeping anymore. Now I need to research different sleep techniques and then implement them all. There's so much of calculating that you're constantly having to do. So many things you're constantly having to consider. Things that people who don't have babies never have to use their brain for. And so I think one way to help prepare you for this mental shift is to remind yourself of how much you're actually figuring out every single day. And mind you, I was just talking about what you have to do for the baby. I've not even mentioned how many things you have to figure out for yourself, because you still have to survive in order for your baby to survive. And then also, you live in a house, so all the things you have to figure out for your house. And if you're a woman, I know you're also going to be thinking about all the people who come over and whether they need to eat, whether you've served them tea or coffee, and all that nonsense. Some things that I found that was super helpful is having a chore list on the fridge, where every week my partner and I know exactly what we're doing and we sort of tick it so that we don't even have to have conversations around chores in the house. Something else that was really helpful during the first 3 months, any friends that came over who were like, how can I help? I was like, chores. Please help us with chores. In addition to the chore list, I literally had a self-care checklist that I would fill out every single day. I didn't complete it every single day, but I know that just having that list reminded me of the things that were important to me and pushed me to make them a priority. I got so much more self-care done because of that list. I actually made a template of that self-care list for any other moms who want to practice self-care specifically in the newborn stage, so I'm going to link that in the description below. And then finally, spiritually, whether you are connected to a religion or not, any practices that make you feel connected to your body, that make you feel connected to the earth, that make you feel connected to higher powers and hope, finding ways to incorporate those into your everyday. And doing this before pregnancy so that when pregnancy comes in, you already have these routines in place. After the baby, you already have these routines in place, and they don't need to be all that. During my pregnancy, I sat down and I thought about what are my non-negotiables, and one of them was just showering every single day. And it was such a spiritual practice for me because I got to surround myself with the element of water. I got to heal my body, especially the sore places that really needed a hot shower. After my shower, I lotioned myself, and that was a way to provide nourishing touch to my body and thank it for birthing a beautiful baby girl, for bringing life into the world. Like, how crazy is that? I grew a baby and I brought that baby into the world. Like, I've given birth and I don't think I'll ever get over that. I will never get over the fact that people can bring life into the world. Okay, I am just gonna go look in the mirror to see what's up with my hair, and then we're gonna style it. Okay, so today we're gonna walk through my skincare routine while I answer another question asked by y'all on Instagram. Before I get into my skincare routine, I want to just preface by saying that I've never really had chronic issues with my skin. My skin has been relatively easy for my entire life. Around 23, so like 5-6 years ago, I started to get a little bit of acne here and there just from stress. You can kind of see some of the markings still. I don't know if you can tell. And so ever since then, I've been trying to explore using different products with my skin, but I try to maintain a cleanser, toner, moisturizing routine every day. Now that I'm a mom, it doesn't always happen every day, but this is a routine that I started when I was really young. My mom taught me skincare when I was like a preteen, and it's always been a way for me to shower myself with love, just take a moment during the day to be with myself, check in with myself. For me, a big part of skincare is not what I'm doing, but how I'm doing it. So it's really important for me to take time to touch myself gently, to think about things that bring me joy while I'm doing my skincare, to vibe to a song that makes me feel really good. I really believe that the energy in the air that exists while I'm doing my skincare seeps into my skin too. Postpartum, I haven't really had specific skin issues, so my priority is just trying my best to maintain a skincare routine. It usually happens at least once a day. Sometimes I'll miss a couple of days. Sometimes I'll do part of the skincare routine and let go of other parts. I don't really beat myself up about getting every single step. If I get 1 or 2 steps in, I consider that a win. I'm just happy that I'm committed to making time for myself, whether that's 30 seconds or a full 3 minutes. Which reminds me, I do not have a skincare routine that's more than 3 minutes. I just know I'm never gonna get it done if it's too long. Okay, so we're gonna start with this facial oil cleanser. This was actually made by one of my friends. She started an Ayurvedic skincare brand, and I just gently massage the oil into my face in these little circles. I know that some people don't like facial oil cleansers because they feel like it doesn't work with their skin. I have not found that with my skin. I especially love using facial oil cleansers after makeup because I just feel like it really gets the makeup out, even after using like makeup remover or makeup wipes. But to be honest, I've not worn makeup in like 18 months. And also, when I say makeup, I mean like eyeliner. I don't really put makeup on my face. That was just a habit I never really got into. And even though it's something that interests me, I just feel like it's gonna take a lot of time, a lot of money. So eyeliner will have to do for me. So after I massage the oil into my skin, I let it sit for about a minute, and then I use this little reusable facial wipe that my partner bought me. It has a little day of the week. Today's a Saturday, so obviously I'm using the Saturday one. It came in a pack of 7, one for every day of the week. And so I'll just wet this with warm water and then just gently get the oil off my skin. I find it a lot easier to use a wipe like this to get the oil off as opposed to my bare hands. And these wipes are made of bamboo, and any stains from the oil or dirt on your face gets washed away so easily. I'm just going to the other side and I'm gonna do another round. And I'm being really gentle. The idea is for some of the oil to stay on the face. Okay, that's looking pretty good. Now it's time for my toner slash serum. Right now I have a toner and a serum, so I'm just gonna use them together. I usually love using rose water. I find toners to be so hydrating, and when I use them before a serum, I feel like the serum seeps into my skin. I'm currently using a hyaluronic acid serum. Depending on what I'm struggling with at the time, I found this really cool Korean skincare store that I love. So I just go there and ask for whatever they recommend. And every single serum they've given me so far has worked wonders. So I'm just gonna keep doing that. So I usually do a few drops and then I just kind of pat this into my skin. You'll notice that I'm not really sharing the specific products that I use. The reason is because I don't really use the same skincare products consistently. Right now, I'm trying to spend as little money as possible, and so a lot of the skincare that I use is just gifted to me by friends. I don't always get the cleanser, toner, serum, and moisturizer all gifted to me together. And so I'm often mixing and matching different sets. I also think trying different products gives me a chance to learn what works with my skin and what doesn't work with my skin, maybe the ways my skin is changing and what products I need to switch up. Okay, once the serum has almost dried, I go in with a moisturizer. Right now we're in spring, so it's like half cold, half sunny weather. And I found that using a full-on moisturizer is a little too thick. So I mix moisturizer with a little bit of oil. My partner bought me this in the winter. It's a hemp face protector moisturizer. It's really great for dry skin, which I tend to have. And I'm mixing that with some jojoba oil that also has a little bit of primrose in there. So I just do 1 or 2 pumps and then I mix it in my palm until it sort of becomes like a paste. And then I apply it to my skin in like larger circular motions. Oh, it smells so good. I'm a sucker for anything rose, honestly. I have a little bit extra that I'm just gonna put on my neck. And the final step of my skincare routine is this lip balm, also made by my friend who owns the Ayurvedic skincare brand. And it's just cocoa seed butter, and I have never known a lip balm to work as good as this one. My partner has the most luscious lips, always incredibly moist, no matter how cold and dry the weather is. And my goal is to get on his level. We're getting there. And that is my skincare routine. Oh my god, I just realized I totally forgot to answer the question. Okay. Awkward. So I'm just gonna do it now. Best and worst advice for postpartum. Okay, I'm gonna start with the worst. The worst advice that I got from multiple people would definitely be to lose weight right after pregnancy. I'm talking like within the first month post-birth, actually within the first week. And like people tried to like package it as like, we're just, saying this because of how much weight you put on during your pregnancy and we want to make sure that you stay healthy. When really it was just because people are fat phobic and sexist. Like everybody wants women to give birth, but nobody wants any reminders that they gave birth. Luckily, a lot of other people who had given birth warned me about this. And so I was very prepared with how I was going to respond to them and also what narratives I was going to repeat to myself to affirm that I didn't need to lose weight just because other people expected me to, wanted me to, or sometimes needed me to so that they didn't have to confront their own oppressive beliefs. Some things that I did were I bought clothes that made my body feel really good throughout my postpartum journey. So every time my body changed, if I lost weight, if my tummy got smaller, if my hips got smaller, I started buying clothes to complement that. I also started wearing clothes that I was really comfortable with, clothes that felt soft on my body and made my body feel really cared for. And I surrounded myself in the media with representation of women that are fat, people that gave birth who have physical remnants of their birth and their pregnancy, and also people that were continuing conversations about how unnecessary and unrealistic it is to expect people who've given birth to bounce back to their body before birth. Like, we've just pushed a human out of our body after growing a human inside our body. Why are we so quick to act like that never happened? Why are we so quick to transform to a body that does not hold the experience that we just went through? Growing up, I never heard this whole bouncing back business. Like when people gave birth, they had their pre-birth body and their post-birth body. And that was just a natural way of moving through birth. And then I come here to North America and I hear this shit. And I'm just like, is there not enough? Is there not enough that we put onto people who give birth that now they have to worry about this too? So yeah, worst advice ever. Like, I am all for strengthening your body. I took time almost every single day to do my physiotherapy exercises to gain more functionality, more mobility in my body because I lost so much of that during my pregnancy. That's different. That is empowering, not making somebody feel smaller for just existing in the body that they have. Okay, best advice would definitely be the Ayurvedic perspective on postpartum care. So I was lucky enough to consult with an Ayurvedic doctor, and she shared that post-birth, our priority needs to be taking care of the birthing parent. Because if the birthing parent is not taken care of, the baby will not be taken care of. And so I prioritized my care every step of the way as much as I possibly could. And let me tell you, I put reminders to care for myself because when you have a newborn, you can't remember anything. Before the baby was even born, I made a list of all the things my friends could do to support me so that when anybody visited after birth and asked, what can I do? I went to the list and I was like, what do I need right now? And how can this person do it for me? And let me tell you, me prioritizing taking care of myself, till today, I maintain that that is the number one reason that I love being a mom. I'm not putting my needs aside in the name of my baby. My baby loves it when I take care of myself, because when I take care of myself, I'm teaching them that we deserve to take care of ourselves. When I take care of myself, I'm able to show up as the best mother that I possibly could be. I have no mom guilt. There's nothing to be guilty about. I deserve to be taken care of. And so I'm just loving myself exactly the way I deserve. Why would I feel guilty about that? I was put on this earth to be loved. I am fulfilling my destiny.
Okay. Basic. Extra towel. Okay, so I am going to give myself a little massage with this foot mask. I had a really long day vendoring at the farmer's market last night, and I was up on my feet for like 4 hours straight, and my feet are killing me. Okay, the question I'm going to be answering today is, what surprised me during my postpartum journey, emotionally and physically? What a good question. Because I think like everybody's postpartum journey is so different. And even if people tell you what you can expect, that doesn't necessarily mean that's going to be your experience. Let's do the left foot. Oh my gosh, it feels so weird on my feet. Okay, right foot done as well. I'm just going to kind of leave my feet in there while I finish answering this question. And I'm going to sip this cup of tea because I have a bit of a sore throat from talking to way too many people yesterday. So good. Okay. What surprised me physically? So my mobility throughout my pregnancy was so limited. And I went to a physiotherapist before I gave birth in my second trimester to help me work through some of the pain. She gave me some exercises to do every day,
and I was fairly consistent during pregnancy. I did it maybe 3 to 4 times a week. And I made myself a promise that after I gave birth, I would do my physio every day as much as possible, just to commit to taking care of myself amidst having a newborn. And wow, I am so glad I decided to do that, because I expected recovery physically to be difficult. But what I didn't expect was how much joy I would get out of every single goal that I hit. So, for example, I wasn't able to walk up and down the stairs in a single step. I had to go like bum, 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 bum. And that was really difficult because when my partner went to work, I didn't feel comfortable going outside with my baby because I had to go down a flight of stairs. And I wanted to wait until I could do the single step before I carried her down the stairs. So my goal was to do that by 6 months. And I was actually able to go down by 4 months, which was so incredible. I just loved having the agency to be able to walk outside the door whenever I wanted, even when my partner wasn't at home. Another thing that I wasn't able to do during the third trimester of pregnancy was cleaning the house. And that was really difficult for me because I love keeping my house clean. It really helps with my mental health. And my partner had to take on 100% of the cleaning, and his cleanliness standards are not as high as mine. So the house was just not as clean as I wanted it to be. And when I tell you, the first time I was able to sweep, like really get under furniture and sweep, it was 4 months postpartum. Oh my God. I was so excited, and sweeping now is just this practice that brings me such joy because I can do it. You know, there was a time when I couldn't do it. And that's really what my journey has been like, regaining my mobility. Every single step brings me so much joy. And now things that I took for granted before my pregnancy, I really intentionally absorb. Like, I can bend, I can carry, I can walk, I can sit, I can lie down. These were things that were so incredibly painful, and they're so much less painful now. I haven't gained 100% mobility. I would say right now I'm at 95% like basic mobility. I still haven't regained the mobility I had before pregnancy. I just started doing yoga a couple of months ago, which is so exciting. Just like very, very basic yoga, but just the fact that I can go on my hands and knees and do Bithalasana and Marjanasana, those were things that were unavailable to me second trimester onwards. Another thing that surprised me is how what's considered like normal after pregnancy doesn't necessarily mean normal. It just means what the world has normalized. So, for example, something that we hear so often is after pregnancy, you pee every time you sneeze. And I was fully expecting that to be the case. But because I did see a pelvic floor physiotherapist before birth, and they gave me exercises that I continued before birth and after birth, I actually was able to work on my pelvic floor to the point where I've actually never peed when I sneezed. That's not to say my pelvic floor is healed, because I am far away from that.
I still have so many positions that I'm not able to get into, and I still do physiotherapy almost every single day. But it really got me thinking, if people who gave birth were more supported and were given this space to work on their recovery, would we really be dealing with a lot of the issues that we've just learned to accept, that we've normalized because the world hasn't made space for us to find solutions to those problems? Other things physically, I mean, this was not super surprising, but I feel like I should talk about it. Sex. I heard a lot of other pregnant people talk about having to wait like 4 months before they could have sex, and how like that was such a huge deal. And for me personally, like I'm not a very sexual person, so that was like the last thing on my mind. Also, I don't really have a relationship with my partner where I feel like pressured to do that. And so I really was waiting until I felt like I was ready to have sex. And if I'm being honest, forget like functionally being able to, it took me like maybe 8 to 9 months before the thought even crossed my mind. And that was totally normal for me and for my partner. And I just wanted to put that out there because if you are not particularly sexual, or you are sexual and you still don't feel like having sex, that's totally fine. There's no timeline on when you need to have sex or when it's too long to wait to have sex. And also, if your birthing partner is pressuring you into having sex, indirectly or directly, yeah, they need to check themselves. People have no idea how taxing birth is on a body. And I don't just mean like your vagina, I don't just mean your uterus. I mean, birth completely changes your body physically on every single level. And it's so important that we give our bodies the time to transition through that and to sit with the new body that we have been gifted after birth, and to understand how our body's needs might have shifted after birth, and to respect that and to honor that. Like, I know we always say, like, holy shit, we just gave birth, but like, we just gave birth. Like, we gave life to a human being. And I think it's so important that we make space for whoever emerges after that birth, and to give that person whatever they want. Like, they literally just did the impossible. Like, they were a part of a miracle. Like, can we just like not act like that's just like something that happens every day? Okay, I know it happens every day, but like, doesn't change the fact that it is like freaking magical. Okay, emotionally, so I have experienced depression since I was 16, and I was very prepared for postpartum depression. And I was also trying to like check in with myself in case I also experienced postpartum anxiety, which is very common. But what really surprised me is how much joy I felt being a mom. Like, I've said this on this channel before, I very much expected motherhood to be stressful and painful. And I'm not saying that there aren't periods of stress and there aren't periods of pain, because there absolutely are, and like every single day. But there are also so many moments of joy, and there's so many moments of love, and like a kind of love that just like breaks your heart open, a kind of love that is all consuming, that is consistently present, whether you can feel it or not. Another thing emotionally that I didn't expect is how much I didn't want to lean on others for support. Like, outside of my partner, I didn't really feel the need to lean on my friends as much as I used to before pregnancy, which was super bizarre to me because I'm very much like in this life for the homies. Like, my friends are one of the biggest parts of my life. And yet, after giving birth, I just felt like I wanted to lean on myself. And I really felt myself move inward. I'm still trying to figure out whether that's the best thing because, you always hear like, lean on your friends, like, you need your friends. But I think what I was experiencing just felt so intimate to me that I didn't even know how to talk about it to others. And I love having a relationship with myself, and talking to myself just felt like talking to somebody who understood so deeply what I was going through, and that felt like enough support for me. What else surprised me emotionally? I didn't expect to break down as much as I broke down without even knowing what I was breaking down about. So, like, I expected myself to, like, get upset or angry about, like, specific things, but I would just have, like, an outburst of sobbing for hours. And, like, I'm pretty sure that was just the hormones. Um, but that always took me by surprise. Like, I would just like be in the shower, and I would get out of the shower and I would just like burst into tears, and my partner would like rush over and like help me to the room and like lotion me up and dress me up and like put me to bed. And this happened like consistently every single day, multiple times a day for a month. And then after that, it would happen maybe like a few times a week. And now those outbursts don't happen anymore. But yeah, that was like a really interesting thing to like witness myself going through, these uncontrollable sobs. I think this is the part where I felt more open to leaning on others. I loved when others like hugged me or heated up some food for me, like just really took care of me the way I guess my mom would. This one's not surprising, but yeah, not having my mom in my life, but especially postpartum, was really challenging. And to this day, it's something that I grieve really deeply. Not having my mom postpartum, not having my mom raise my daughter, not having my mom raise me, not being able to raise my mom. It continues to be one of the hardest parts of motherhood for sure. I think because I'm the kind of person who, like, whatever cards I've been dealt, I just kind of figure out how to live life with them. I think sometimes I forget the reality of raising a daughter without my mom. Like, I think this is a very cultural thing. When I'm with family or friends and I get invited to one of their parties, and they're like relatives of relatives and I don't know them, and they ask how motherhood's been going, and I'm like, oh yeah, like it's been wonderful, and they ask if I got help from my parents, and I say no, and the look on their face where it's just like, oh my god, like that seems unimaginable, because it's just so expected that your parents would help you raise your child. In those moments, it really hits me like, oh, Kirsten, like, this is a really hard thing that you're having to do. I think, like, that's probably the most challenging part of losing someone. It's like, you have to continuously be reminded that you're living life without them. And if the someone you've lost is someone who would have been a huge part of your everyday, like, it's something you have to sit with every single day. Like,
It's been over 2 years, and it's something I sit with every single day. Yeah. Anyway, got a little derailed, but did anything else surprise me emotionally? Yeah, I was really surprised by how emotionally connected I would be with my partner. Like, we have a very uh, intuitive, emotionally safe relationship, but I expected him to sort of be pretty useless post birth, in terms of like supporting me, because I was like, he has no idea what I'm going through. But like, outside of the few times when I was like, you just don't understand, he was very present and very supportive. And I think he was just sort of using the guidelines of what are Kirsten's needs and how can I help meet those needs. And I felt really emotionally held by him in those first few months. And I think that that's really important, because if you're raising a child with a partner and they don't understand how to support you, it can feel impossible to raise a child in those conditions. And us being so emotionally connected really helped navigate the moments when I did feel like he was showing up for our baby the way I wanted him to, or I didn't feel like he was understanding the gender gap between us. But those first, I want to say like 2.5 months when he was home for paternity leave, I just felt like we were this really tight unit, him, me, and our baby. And I feel like the energy in our home was just so soft and so safe. And to be able to bring a child into the world and to have that be their foundation, to have that be their normal, is such a gift. You know, we live in such a harsh world. And for our baby to be able to come home and to feel safe, and for our baby to know what it means to be loved, it felt like such a privilege to witness that and to be a part of that. And that really surprised me. Yeah, my friends would probably say, not surprising, Kirsten, because it's you and Elijah. But yeah, I think sometimes when you're in a relationship, you don't always notice the beauty of that relationship until somebody else points it out. Okay, I think I've talked enough. So I'm going to head out now. But thank you so much for sticking with me as I talk through my postpartum journey. If you're an expecting mom or if you're a new mom, I've made a bunch of videos documenting my daughters and my first year together. So you should definitely check those out. Otherwise, I'll see you in the next one.